right, let's talk about mastering IGCSE spreadsheet formulas. Look, our goal here is super simple. I want to make sure you walk away with every single mark on these really crucial exam questions. Has this ever happened to you? You've spent hours on your practical paper. You feel like you've absolutely nailed it. And then the results come back, and a huge chunk of marks, maybe 10, are just gone. All because of one or two formulas. It's so frustrating. So what's actually going wrong here?
Well, it almost always boils down to these three costly mistakes. First up, using a regular lookup function on data that isn't sorted. That's a classic mistake, and it's an instant 0 for that function, no questions asked. Second, and this is a big one, forgetting those dollar signs for absolute references. You know what happens, right? You drag that formula down, the range shifts, everything breaks, and poof, all your replication marks are gone. And finally, typing text, like the word yes, straight into a formula instead of just clicking on the cell that has it. Examiners have a name for this. They call it non-replicable. And believe me, it costs you dearly.
But here's the good news. Just by avoiding these 3 simple mistakes, you can instantly grab up to 15 marks on your next paper. Seriously, these are marks that honestly most people are just leaving on the table. Okay, so here's the game plan for today. First, I'm going to give you a super simple 3-step method that you can use for pretty much any formula question. Then we're going to walk through a real exam example together, step by step, to see how it all works in practice. And you'll definitely want to stick around for that part, because that's where the real marks are won. After that, we'll decode some of those weird keywords the examiners love to use, and we'll wrap up with a quick preprint checklist to make sure you lock in every single grade. All right, let's dive right in with the 3-step method. Think of this as your secret weapon, your repeatable path to getting full marks every single time. Honestly, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Okay, step 1 is analyze. Before you even think about typing a formula, just stop and look at your source data. Ask yourself, is the column I'm searching in sorted? If the answer is no, then you have to use VLOOKUP, not the regular lookup. It's such a common trap, so don't fall for it. All right, step 2 is secure. I call this the dollar sign rule. Anytime you know you're going to drag a formula down, any range or table that needs to stay put must have absolute references. Just hit F4 on your keyboard, it'll add the dollar signs for you. This is how you secure those precious replication marks. And finally, step 3, reference. Look, if your criteria, say a ref name or a yes, is already sitting in a cell somewhere, just click on that cell. Do not type the word. This is what makes your formula truly replicable. Okay, so theory is one thing, but let's see how this actually works in the real world. We're going to tackle a question straight from the June 2024 IGCSE paper. Time to put our 3-step method to the test. So the first task is pretty standard. It asks us to find a diver's type based on their name. So we've got a list of divers, and we need to pull in some info from another table. Right away, your brain should be thinking, okay, this is a job for a lookup function. And here it is. This is the perfect formula that's going to get you full marks for this task. Now, let's break it down piece by piece so you can see exactly why it works and where all those marks come from. Okay, so check this out. First, we get a mark just for choosing VLOOKUP. Why? Because we followed step 1. We analyzed the data and saw the diver names weren't sorted. Boom, 1 mark. Next, see the absolute reference, the $A, $2, $C, $51? That's another mark. It means when we drag this formula down for all the other divers, that table range is locked in place. It won't move. And finally, that little 0 at the end, which means false, gets us another mark. That tells the spreadsheet we need an exact match, which is absolutely essential when your data isn't sorted. All right, now for something a little trickier. The next part asks us to count something, but there's a catch. We only count it if it meets 3 different conditions. It has to be at a specific reef, it needs to have a photo, and it needs to have a GPS location. And here's the formula that cracks it. Notice it's count ifs with that S on the end. That's the key, because we're dealing with multiple criteria. So let's break this one down too. First off, we get marks for using countifs because, well, we have more than one condition. Makes sense. Next, look at the dollar signs on all those ranges, like $D35 to $D75. That's us following step 2 again, securing those replication marks. But here's the really clever part. See the reference to A9? That's the cell with the ref name. Notice how it has no dollar signs? That's called a relative reference. And what that means is, when we drag the formula down to the next row, it's smart enough to automatically look at cell A10 for the next ref. Now that is what a perfect, fully replicable formula looks like. Okay, so you're getting good at building the formulas, but now we need to learn to speak the examiner's language.
If you can understand their key words, you'll know exactly what they're looking for. So, when you see the phrase replicable formula in the exam paper, this is basically their secret code for what we just did in that last example. It's a test to see if you can use a smart mix of absolute references, the ones with dollar signs that stay fixed, and relative references for the bits that need to change when you drag the formula down. Let's look at a quick comparison so this really sinks in. On the left, we've got a formula where someone types the word yes directly into it. That is not replicable, and you'll lose marks. But on the right, the formula correctly references a cell, like A9. That is replicable, and that's how you get the marks. It seems like such a tiny little change, but it makes a massive difference to your final score. Okay, another key phrase you'll see is fully visible. This one sounds so simple, but you would not believe how many marks are lost because of it. If your formula is so long that it gets cut off, or if your answer just shows up as those annoying # symbols, the examiner literally can't give you the mark. So pro tip, always double-click the column borders to auto-fit everything just before you print. All right, you've done all the heavy lifting. The formulas are in, but before you hit print, let's just run through a quick final checklist. This is to make sure you don't accidentally throw away any easy marks right at the very end. Just run through this in your head. Number 1, is my lookup data unsorted? If it is, I've used a VLOOKUP, right? Good. Number 2, are all my dollar signs in place for the fixed ranges? Check. 3, is it replicable? Did I use cell references instead of typing out text? Yep. 4, is everything fully visible? Are any columns too narrow? Quick check. And finally, the most basic one of all, but so easy to forget under pressure, does every single formula start with an equal sign? Sounds silly, but you'd be surprised. And hey, one last little pro tip for you, but this one's for your theory paper. Never, ever write Microsoft Excel in your answers. The term that gets you the marks is the generic one, spreadsheet software. It's a weird rule, but examiners are literally told to ignore brand names. So now that we've broken it all down, the real question is, are you ready to stop leaving those easy marks on the table? Are you ready to use this simple method and go in and confidently claim those extra 15 marks for yourself? Look, the absolute best way to make this stuff second nature is to practice it. So right now, go find another past paper question. Apply our 3-step method, run through the final checklist. The more you do it, the more it just becomes automatic. And of course, don't forget to check out our other explainers to really nail every part of the IGCSE ICT exam. Good luck!